if you're following along with our Bible reading plan, we're going to be in Psalm 78 and Proverbs 2 today. And it's going to accompany the video teaching on Matthew 13, verse 34 through 36. So make sure you watch that video when it premieres and grab the free reading plan on the homepage of our website every week. Psalm chapter 78 talks about the hidden mysteries that God has revealed. Proverbs chapter 2 is going to talk about crying out for those hidden treasures of wisdom and desiring to know those mysteries in order to fear God and love Him properly. And so here's some questions to consider just as you're going through these passages. What do these passages have in common? Where do they overlap? Where are they different? How do they connect to each other? And how do they connect back to Matthew 13 and the parables Jesus gives? You're going to see that once again, these two passages will continue this theme of divine hiddenness, right? Much of what God has is hidden, and much of what He's hidden for His people to discover. And so we're going to see that the way we come to know things matters. God has invited us into a process of discovery, not a bullet point list of facts that you intellectually acknowledge and agree with. And on a daily basis, we're called to pursue deeper wisdom, not just settle for a shallow, superficial knowledge of the facts. And the parables seem to separate casual hearers from those who are true seekers of God. Those who press in for wisdom will actually receive the spiritual understanding God has for His people because they desire to know and fear the Lord. And so we're called to not settle for secondhand information about God. I think very often we settle for man's traditions. Well, my pastor said, well, my favorite YouTuber said, well, a man that I respect who loves God and has history with God told me this, and we should respect people's opinions. We should consider what they say. We should weigh these things and discern through them prayerfully. But we're not called to settle for a second-hand relationship with God that someone just hands to us. I think that's how we often view knowledge, is someone's just going to hand me information and that's going to be good enough. And God will teach us through other people. God will bring revelation through the people we're in community with and people who are gifted to teach and just relay what they've learned from God. But you and I need to pursue a deeper personal intimacy with God that no man can give you in a classroom. Not to say there's no value for the classroom setting, but we should begin to pray that, hey, God, would you increase my love for you? Would you increase my fear of you, a proper reverence? It seems as though what we often get out of our relationship with God heavily depends on the effort that we put forth. Not that God will not graciously work outside of that often, not that God is limited to our efforts, and not that God only gives us, what equals our level of effort, but much of our relationship with God involves partnership. It involves pursuit. It involves a process of discovery. And you're going to notice that the minute you come to know Jesus, you don't know everything because there's a process God has now placed you into of transformation, of relationship, of trusting Him more and more each day that requires of us a level of pursuit and desire. God is not just concerned with you coming to know something. He's concerned about how you come to know something. And 1 Corinthians 8 talks about this, where, if you've come to know something in a certain way that puffs you up and it leaves you prideful and judgmental and having a low view of others, you have not yet come to know that the way you should. ChatGPT can give you the information and all the facts and list it all out in a neat bullet point list. And God can work through that. I'm not denying that God cannot work through these means. But what lies on the other side of a personal pursuit of God's hidden treasure, which is Jesus, on the other side of personal, intentional pursuit is something that AI cannot replace. It's something that the classroom can't replace, man can't replace. No one can simply hand you that on a platter. Though those things can supplement your faith, they can never replace your personal intimacy and pursuit of God. And so my invitation to you today is pursue the person of God, not just the information about Him. I know you love the connections. I know you love the revelations. I know you love the insights and the hidden treasures and mysteries. And I'm saying pursue those things, but not at the expense of keeping God central to it. God is primary. He's priority. The information that he gives us is a means to an end. Knowledge itself is not more precious than the God behind that knowledge. And so God is inviting you to ask for more today. So be blessed.